Hi, and welcome to the Eat, Move, Groove podcast. I am your host, registered dietitian and wellness expert, Susie Kundrat. I highlight simple, positive, practical, and doable ways you can boost your well-being. I like to call it going from science to simple, based in solid science, but simple enough to put into practice on a daily basis. And when life gets in the way of your well-being, that's okay. Just take a deep breath and start simple with Eat, Move, Groove. Let's do this. Hi, everybody. This is Susie Kundrat, and I am here to launch the Eat, Move, Groove podcast. And I have my wonderful dear colleague and friend with me, Lisa Burgoon. We are both registered dietitians, and Lisa has been just a wonderful asset to me and my right-hand person here with the Eat, Move, Groove book. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. When the idea of Eat, Move, Groove was brewing, which was about 6 or 7 years ago when I was teaching full-time at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, working with students in kinesiology and nutritional sciences, I started thinking about how we have a bit of a gap. You know, that gap between here's all the science and here's all the research, and over here is all of us, really trying to put it into practice. And somewhere along that line, there's a bit of a gap. And what I like to say is I feel like Eat, Move, Groove is a bridge to help folks cross that gap of whether it's a gap of knowledge or a gap of accessibility or a gap of maybe access to food. Certainly, there's a lot of things. So that's the goal with Eat, Move, Groove, is to offer an alternative opportunity for personal wellness in a way that's simple, that's easy to put into practice, that's doable, but it's still science-based because as we know, as a registered dietitian myself, as a wellness educator, almost as long as you, over 35 years now, I know that we do have to base ourselves in that science. That's so critical, particularly around nutrition and fitness and wellness, because a lot of people don't base themselves in the science. And that's where it all starts. And one thing you did among many things is you helped with our initial assessment. We had about 20 people go through a 10-week trial with Eat, Move, Groove. And it was online at the time. We did an online educational program with about 20 individuals. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that and kind of how it came out of that survey and the work we did with our initial group of 20?
Right. Well, with the survey, when I was doing the qualitative piece of that, interviewing, sometimes for even an hour, those around 20 of those individuals that we did the pilot with, it seemed to come about that there were things that they were either doing or struggling with that were, how do I keep this up? And how do I connect with other people that are like-minded so that I can maybe make some changes if changes were in order for them in their nutrition and movement areas? But then I learned that we can educate as much as possible, and the education piece is important, but how do we help people grow and move forward with some of the things that they want to do to improve their overall health, fitness, and wellness?
And so when we're thinking about eating, moving, and grooving, another thing is we did a survey of about 500 adults. And this was last year when the book was really starting to get going. But we really wanted to know, what is it people are doing well and feel good about in terms of their own well-being? What is it that consumers might need a little more help with? And that, all of that information, we compiled that, and that really helped us form the outline of the book and looking at what kinds of things people were doing that were beneficial. We wanted to include that. We also wanted to include things that people felt like, hey, I could use a little more information here.
Right.
And the other thing that came out of the book, that came out of surveys, that has come out of all the programs we've been doing around the country already with Eat, Move, Groove, is keep it simple. You might have heard of the old KISS principle. I remind myself of that. Keep it simple, Susie. That's what I remind myself of. If it's not simple and if it's not fun, it's not going to work, right? I mean, we're all busy.
Right.
And we all, again, have limitations and challenges. You might be a busy parent. You might be a college student. You might be in your years where, hey, I'm retired and I'm thinking about recalibrating my wellness. One of the things that's really important is to be doing things just like we want to enjoy what we're eating. We want to enjoy how we're moving. And in the book, I talk a bit about what's your why, which of course is more, why would you be interested in enhancing your well-being, boosting your longevity, looking at a health span versus a lifespan? And those might be the whys, but the hows are also something that I write about in the book because I think it's so important. So I guess personally, I've known you for so long and I've known how much you love to move your body, but what do you like to do and why?
Yeah. So I walk my dog every day. Every day. It's usually 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's one of my absolute favorite times of the day because I'm out walking the dog. I'm watching what she's doing. I oftentimes let her off leash so she can sniff and stuff. Oftentimes, if she's sniffing, then I'm literally doing warrior 1, warrior 2, warrior 3, or a sun salutation because the sun's just about to come up. And so I oftentimes do that because if she's just sniffing there and I don't have to pay attention to her, I might as well do something that I enjoy doing.
So enjoying some yoga while your dog.
Yes, I do a little bit of yoga, a little bit of mindful walking, and that sort of thing. Recently, I've decided that I need to do more strength training. And that's, it's really from a function standpoint, just literally trying to get up off of the floor or out of the chair and things. I'm like, what in the world? I used to be a triathlete and now I'm feeling not very strong. So I do this really cool and a really nice awesome studio over in Urbana, Illinois. It's called Warm Yoga Sculpt. And so we do weights, but we also do breathing. We do all kinds of traditional yoga, but also some strength training. And then I actually have been very much enjoying and surprised myself with this online classes. Team Body Project is the online classes that I choose to use. And you can get a combination of cardio, you can get what they call full body, which is some cardio and some upper body and lower body strength. I've been able to go from only being able to use 3 pounds to now I can do 8 pounds in a period of 6 months. And so for me, it's been really fun to see my body change in ways that I never thought was really possible at 60 years old. I think the other piece with that is sometimes people are afraid to start a new program, or they get sore and they stop and those sorts of things. I think using the idea of 22 minutes of what we call sort of cardio movement, and then 11 minutes literally can mean just stand at your kitchen counter and do a little bit of light stretching. Then people, at least from our survey, people that were new to exercise said, I can do this. That's what we want to hear people say. Yes. I can do this. I can do this from an eat standpoint. I can do this from a move standpoint, and I can certainly groove every day. And that's, I think, really critical.
Yeah, I think you brought up some really good points. First of all, there are a lot of online fitness or exercise or movement classes or programs or things that are free. Right. Which is great because for a lot of people, doing it at home might be the most comfortable place to start. So that's good.
Absolutely.
And I think it's also helpful for people to remember that some of these things they can do or we can do are just outside. So I'm thinking of yesterday when I took the dogs for a little walk. I went back out for another walk myself to get a little bit more time. And I did some push-ups on a park bench.
Sure.
Now, I don't know. I might have gotten some funny looks. That doesn't really bother me at my age. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Yeah. But you could do some push-ups kind of squats right onto the seat. So you've got a seat to go up and down from. And I did some of that, came home. The next day I could feel it. And I thought, wow, that was probably only 5 minutes of strength that I did while I was walking. It was a beautiful day. It was lovely. And so I think, as you say, incorporating small amounts, doing a few things maybe to try, but not feeling like you need to be totally overwhelmed by the movement, I think is really helpful.
Yeah.
And it should feel good to you. It should be things you enjoy. I swim every week. I love, love, love deep water exercise classes. Now, in my class, there are people in their 40s to their 90s. We just celebrated the 90th birthday of one of our class members, and who was in the class that day. And for whatever reason, I think growing up as a swimmer, I love being in water. The feel of being in water to me is just wonderful. And so, find those things that feel good to you, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's really, really important. To enjoy the movement, enjoy your eating is critical. So I had a question for you, and I'm going to ask every guest the same question. My question to you is, how do you 22? We've kind of talked about it. Now, when I say how do you 22, it's really how do you take care of your well-being in any way? What is something, and you've given a lot of examples already today, but something you might suggest to our audience as a way that you nurture yourself just for yourself and take care of your own well-being?
Yeah. So I come back to mindfulness, and I don't want to be off-putting with that word because some people think, oh, that's hippy-dippy and whatever. But for me, I pay a little bit of attention every day to planning out my meals and my snacks, but I don't spend too much time on that. I want to be a little intentional about that. I want to be intentional about my exercise, and I do have to plan, I have to sign up for my classes or those sorts, but I don't get overly involved with that. And then I think the mindful piece with meditation, before I get up every morning, before I even get out of bed, I do a little bit of mindful meditation, or I do a gratitude exercise, or I do something like that. And frankly, that's easy. I'm being mindful about what I'm doing overall. And if you look at it from Eat, Move, Groove, it's something in all three of those areas. It doesn't take that much time. I can do it. And I feel really good about it. So I think those are the things that, for me, it's a thread of mindfulness throughout the day.
That's fabulous. That is great advice. And it's something that you can do in 30 seconds or a minute, or just take a short amount of time to do that. That's wonderful. So, as we close up today for our audience, we have some really interesting, fun things planned for the Eat, Move, Groove podcast. What can you expect? Well, you can expect interviews with experts in nutrition, in fitness, in wellness, in mindfulness, in gratitude. Some of our team that has been helpful on this book, they're going to be some of our first guests in finding simple, positive ways to enhance your health, support your well-being. And we're going to be going around the country on our Eat, Move, Groove wellness tour. We've got a little Eat, Move, Groove van that we are outfitting. We're going to be camping. We're going to be educating at universities, at all kinds of different places, in communities, at fitness centers or wellness centers, or we're doing happy hours. So as we do that, we're going to be meeting with a lot of different people who are also interested in well-being in a positive, simple way. So I really look forward to it. Thank you so much for being my wonderful guest.
You're very welcome.
Dear friend.
Yes.
And super colleague. It's been a real joy.
Yeah, for me too.
Thank you so much for listening to the Eat, Move, Groove podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to connect with me and join our Eat, Move, Groove movement at Eat, Move, Groove on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. See you next time.